Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Stjepan Vareževac-Kobet. As you can see from the title, today I want to share something personal. I work in the cement factory, but my true passion is writing. I am Amazon and Goodreads author. Today I'm going to answer the most common question from my readers. So let's dive in. First question is, in your novel Godeena, you introduced us to a dangerous world and struggle against the power of being. How did you come up with this concept? And we learn more about the origin of this ancient civilization in the upcoming books. The concept of the being stemmed from my desire to create a force that goes beyond traditional science fiction brilliance. It is not just enemy with weapon, but an ancient consuming entity that tests the very limit of human survival, morality, and fear with abundant city of absolute. The sequel and broader universe will definitely offer a deep look in the past and secret of ancient civilization. Readers can expect the layoff, the mystery unfolds slowly through the future, through the perilous missions. So, in the book Case Fury, which is the second book of the story, I expand the universe and in first book everything happened on one planet, but in second book everything happened in the universe what I create. Okay, now I go with the second question for my book Dream of the Forest. Dream of the Forest bring a fascinating premise about Sky City, about clouds. What inspired you to depict humanity isolation at such an altitude, and how do you view the ecological message of the story? So letting humanity above the cloud is metaphor for a real world desire to escape the problem we create on the earth. By elevating this city into the sky, I want to create a striking visual contrast between technological progress and the ruined nature below. The ecological message is clear. We cannot endlessly run away from our responsibility toward the planet. Even in the high sky city, our destiny remains inextricably linked to the road and forest we left behind. In concept, this is the romance book, but I want to do something with people with big technology and people with no technology. And I put everything in my book because Helen fell from the sky cities after accidents, and her find Anne, who is a shaman who live in the tribe, because people in Heavenly City didn't know anything on the earth because it's happened a big uh, natural catastrophe, and they think that nobody survived on the earth. So if you like book with some adventure action romance, you can try that book. Now I want about answer a novella 2025. And the catharsis virus deal with the overnight loss of human rights. Did you draw inspiration from real world global events, and how difficult it is to write about social collapse while still maintaining hope for human characters? Writing dystopian is always hard, tightrope walk between reality and fiction. I draw inspiration from observing the world and how quickly human rights can be compromised under the guise of safety of crisis. It is incredibly difficult to write about such social collapse, but for me, maintaining a spark of hope is essential. My characters are not flawless heroes, they are ordinary people looking for light in the dark. Without hope, dystopia becomes just chronicle of despair, and I want to my story to be a reminder of the strength of the human spirit. In story, we go with one family run in the forest to survive. But in the story, many people helps that happens because I write a book about what will happen in war scenario. And right in the parallel universe is not in our universe. It's a parallel world like us. So I didn't want to. I want to show how best scenario for this story to what will really happen if something goes wrong. And now I have another question. As fan of Jules Verne, how much does his classic adventure tone influence technology and space exploration in your space opera like Gears Fury? Jules Verne is entirely to blame for my love of the science fiction because like a child, I want to read his book, and it's very interesting book because he's right 1 century before anybody knows what is science fiction. When I discovered his book in the library as a young boy, a whole new world opened up to me. His influence on my space opera, like Gears Fury, is reflected in the classic sense of wonder, adventure, and exploration of unknown. Although I incorporate modern and futuristic technology, the core of the story always remains true to Van's spirit, a journey in the uncharted with faith in human courage. Because the Kiss Stories happened in the universe where humans go with ships and colonies and everything. But now we don't have yet. But maybe sometime in the future we have some technology to go into the space. I hope that will happen. Now about the poetry. The Child of Happiness, Golden Trees and Flaming Horses. This is my three. I have five book Golden Trees and okay. Your poetry collection, such Golden Trees and Flaming Horses, radiate deep emotional depth. How do you balance building dark sci-fi worlds with writing emotional lyric verses about love and the human soul? Writing science fiction and writing poetry are two sides of the same coin for me. Science fiction allows me to explore ways cosmic and social concepts, while poetry permits me to dive deep in the most hidden corners of human heart and soul. I don't see contradiction here, even in the darkest dystopia. There is need for love and emotion, and poetry helps me to share and convey those feelings on paper. With poetry, I try express my feeling for some themes about love, about politics, about everything what I going through my life. So I don't see differences without writing science fiction and writing the poetry because it's comparing stuff. That is compared with Some stories we have the heroes, loves, and books, even science fiction or fantasy or every book, you have a lot of themes. The main character must follow the story. Now, second question. Readers often point out that an incredible sense of empathy and gratitude shine through your writing. Do you consider poetry to be your primary sanctuary, or does it serve a spark of inspiration for your prose? Poetry is definitely my primary sanctuary and the foundation of my writing. I wrote intensely for 15 years before turning my focus serious to prose. It taught me how value every word and how convey a powerful emotion in just few lines. Every prose story I write, in even darkest one, carried rhythm and empathy, and I embraced through the creation poetry. Writing poetry is the same like writing the book. I learn a lot of to write poetry good, and I especially learn to write books because you need written, you need many things what to be one perfect construction, and the people want to know what happens even in your poetry or even in your books. Now I have a question for my fellows. In Magic Clog, young Antonio received magical clogs because of his kind heart. What is the core lesson you want to pass on to today's generation of children who are growing up in completely digital world? Okay, that is my now is complicated question. The main message of Antonio's story is that real magic doesn't come from the screen, but from pure and kind hearts. In today's digital era, children are bombarded with rapid information, making it easy to forget simple values like empathy, selfness, and helping others. I want to remind them that kindness and goodness are great power a person can possess. Because without that, you have a problem with your life. Another question is, after dealing with heavy themes like dystopia and survival, how much creative relief and personal joy does writing fairy tales like Joseph the Good Giant bring you? Writing fairy tales like Joseph the Good Giant is pure therapy and absolute joy for me. After dealing with heavy demanding themes of surviving in dystopian world, returning to the fairy tales format takes me back to childhood. And I write this book for my daughter. When she is going to sleep, I read from my mind. I start with some story what she wants to hear, and from that, uh, Joseph the Good Giant is born in the bed, in bedtime. It brings me immense creative relief to the story of Joseph the Giant. I remind both myself and the readers that it's always better to face your fear and do good, no matter how deceptive the world might be. Now I want to answer the of my writing process. You were born in Split. Do the Mediterranean atmosphere, history, and spirit of Dalmatia ever influence the world you build in your books, even when they are set in the distant futures? Split and Dalmatia are embedded in my DNA. The Mediterranean sand, the stone, the sea, and our specific mindsets subconsciously permit everything I write. Even when building city above the clouds or waves of distant planets, you can often recognize our Dalmatian dispatch of defiance, resilience, and that unique sense of humor that help us survive even a darkness situation. So, from my country, I really love to read science fiction or fantasy or all books, and that is compared with my heritage. And I love to write something in the space because I love to travel in that place. When I read somebody else's book, it is known that you translate your own work into English to manage costs and maintaining control of the text. How challenging it is to convey specific emotion and nuances from Croatian to English. It is incredibly painstaking process that requires massive amount of energy. I do it myself to manage production costs, but also I maintain complete control of the story tone. The biggest challenge is that Croatian language has specific deep melody and nuance of emotion that cannot simply be translated literally to English. I have to read and rewrite every sentence so that it sounds natural to a foreign reader while preserving its original soul. And I think this is the last question. Yes. What is the best piece of advice you can give to a young Croatian writer who, like you, want to launch and market their books on the global market via Amazon? My best piece of advice is to be incredibly persistent and never give up on the first hurdle. Breaking into global market like Amazon requires a lot of hard work, not just in the writing, but also as marketing, editing, formatting. Oh, that is really bad job. Write from the heart about what truly moves you and never stop learning. You must learning every day. 10 years, from 10 years, I published my first book. And I learned a lot of things about the writing, what I didn't know to exist. So don't wait to be discovered. Take control of your own authorial destiny. Be prepared for hard work alongside your day job. As I do work in a cement factory, 41 years I work in a factory. And you must believe in your word because if you don't believe what you want write, you're not ready. You must believe what you write. You must believe that somebody want read what you write. And I hope I did that in my book. So this is the last question. So if you would like to read my book, I put under my video my Amazon author page, so you can check my book. I have now about 13 books, 5 poetry, 3 science fiction novels, 3 novelette, sci-fi novelette, and 2 fairy tales now. And for 2 months, I published my 14 books, and I'm working on my 15 books. I have 20,000 words for now. And I'm really happy because I love write. I love imagine new word. I love to transcript my mind there on the paper or on the computer. So if you maybe like that, my video, put one like, say comment, everything what you need to ask. I answer every question what you want. So, ask. So I will be happy if somebody watch that video and ask me something about my writing. I really want to have a communication with the writers because I learn a lot of things because writers say me you must change that, you must and I listened uh, I listened to critic, a good critic. I have a bad critic, but for them I can help that people who want to criticize everything what you're writing. But many people like what I do, and I accept suggestion, and I try to be better. Every new books I will try to be better. How to write, how to go with my this journey of publishing books, and I will, and I'm very happy when somebody put a review on my books, or bad or good. It's okay for me. Some people maybe don't like my book. Some people like. Some people um, maybe is not. Maybe I'm not. I didn't write in style what they want, but you every my book you can read the samples of maybe on every book I have a samples, so you can try to read first two page and maybe you find maybe you like it, maybe you don't like it. It is okay for me. I love to see comments of my writers, and and that is bring me the new power to write again. So bye for now and see you in next video. Bye.